Hello guys, how are you today? So today I'll be explaining the IGCSE 3.1 course practice. So let us start with the first question. First question says, select on the grid below the vertices of the image of triangle ABC under a translation given by this vector, followed by a reflection in the line x is equal to -1. So personally, how I would like to do this is I would like to separate it into two things. First thing is the first thing that we're gonna do, which is the vector. So this is the first thing, and then the second thing that we're gonna do is a reflection. So this is the second thing. So keep in mind, the first thing that we have is a vector, and the second thing that we have is a reflection. So please keep in mind what we have for the vector. For the vector we have, it is -2, 3. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take each of the points. The first point I'm gonna take is point A. Point A, as you can see on the graph, it is what? It is 3 minus 3. Alright, then I will take another point, which is point B. As you can see on the graph, it is -1, 2. And then finally, point C, as you can see on the graph, it is over here. It is -4, -1. Now, the first thing we have is a translation using a vector, okay? So this translation using a vector, they told us that the vector is what? The vector over here, it is -2, 3, okay? So we are given the initial points, which is A, B, and C, and we need to find the final points, which are A prime, B prime, and C prime under what? Under a translation of the vector -2, 3, -2, 3, -2, 3. Since we're going from initial to final, we will be what? We will be adding. Okay, so if we add them, we're gonna get that 3 -2, so you will do x and x, so 3 -2, it will give you 1. Okay, and then -3 plus 3, it will give you 0. For B prime, it's gonna be -1 -2, that's gonna give us an answer of -3. And then 2 plus 3, it will give us an answer of 5. And now, finally, for C prime, it's gonna be -4 -2, which is -6, and then -1 plus 3, which is 2. Just like that, we found the first thing that we had to do, which is a translation under a vector. Now, the second thing we have to do is a reflection. The reflection is what? Reflection, it is a reflection about what? Reflection about x is equal to -1. So how I would like to do this, so let me just clear this and let me move over here. So let us remember the points together. We had that A prime was 1, 0, so you're gonna go to 1 and 0, which is over here. B prime was -3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let me just move up a bit more. So 1, 0, -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Over here. Okay, and then finally the last point, which is what? Point C prime, which is -6 and then 2. So it's gonna be over here. So this is after the translation. Now the next thing that's gonna happen is that it is a reflection about what? Reflection about the x is equal to -1. So keep this in mind. Reflection about x is equal to -1. Let me just label the points again. This over here is A prime, B prime, and C prime. So look what's gonna happen over here. We are gonna draw the boundary x -1. So you will go to the value. My bad, I took the wrong one. I took y -1. My mistake, do not do that. Take the boundary x -1. So you're gonna come over here, you will go to x -1 and you will draw a boundary upwards, okay? It will go up and down. Now this is how I would do it personally. I would take from the boundary the distance. So let's say over here. Over here we have A prime. What is the distance from the boundary? It is 1, 2 points away from the boundary. So now on the opposite side, you're gonna act like a mirror and you're gonna move 1, 2 points. And this over here is the new position of A double prime. This position over here, it is what? It is -3, 0. Okay? We move on to B. As you can see, for B prime, the distance from the boundary is 1, 2. So on the opposite side, like a mirror, you are going to move 2 points. So it's going to be 1, 2. and this is its new point over here. So this is B double prime, and its point is 1, 5. And then finally for C prime, let us see the distance from the boundary. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 5 units away from the boundary. So we will act like a mirror and we will make it move again 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 units away from the boundary. So this over here is C double prime. Its location is 4, 2. That is it for question number 1. Let me just put the points. So the first point we have was on minus 3, 0 over here. The second point we had was on 1, 5. So it's going to be over here. To be more exact, I'll put it here. And then finally, for the last point we have, which is C double prime, it is going to be on the point 4, 2. So it's going to be over here. That is pretty much it for question number 1. Now we will move on to question number 2. Again, let us read what they want. Select on the grid below the vertices of the image triangle ABC under a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. This is the first thing that they want from us, followed by a reflection in the line y is equal to -1, and this is what the second thing they want from us. So, what is very important to remember is that when we are dealing with a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise about the origin, what is going to happen? You're going to have a point AB. AB will become what? It will become B minus A. This is if you are dealing with a rotation 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, so let me come over here. Let me choose the points that we have. First point that we have is A. What is point A? Point A is -3, 1. Okay, then we have point B. What is point B? Point B is -3, 4. And then finally we have point C. What is point C? Point C is -1, 4. Okay? So A is -3, 1, B is -3, 4, and C is -1, 4. Okay, so if we are gonna undergo what? We are gonna undergo a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise. Clockwise means it moves in the direction of a clock or like this. Okay? Also here we're gonna move, I'll make it smaller, 90 degrees clockwise, as well as over here it will be moving 90 degrees clockwise. So we said if we are moving 90 degrees clockwise, what is it gonna be? It's gonna change from BA, sorry, not BA, it's gonna change from AB to become what? To become B, I cannot write today, B minus A. Okay? So now let us act like that. First of all, A, we need to get A prime. What is A prime? A prime, it will follow the rule of the 90 degrees clockwise. So AB is going to become B minus A. So if you follow that rule, you are going to get 1, 3. For B prime, you're also going to follow the rule. AB becomes B minus A. So it's going to become 4, 3. And then finally, what's going to happen is that C will become C prime. It will also follow the rule. So -1, 4 will become what? It will become 4, 1. So keep these in mind. Next, we will move on to the graph and we will follow the next step. The next step that they want is reflection in the line y is equal to -1. So I don't know how I'm going to be able to fit this. I think I will just move like this. There we go. Okay, that's good. So let me put all of the points that we found previously. First of all, we have A prime. A prime, we know it is what? It is 1, 3. So it's going to be over here. This is what? This is A prime. Then we have B prime. It is 0.4, 3. So this over here is going to be what? This over here is going to be B prime. And then finally, C prime, it is 4, 1. So this over here is going to be what? This over here is going to be C prime. So it's going to look like this triangle. Okay, it's not necessary to draw them. We're only dealing with the points, okay? Now they said reflection y is equal to -1. What I would do in this case is I would draw the line y equals to -1, which is this horizontal line over here, and I would take it as a boundary. Now I will take the distance. So from A prime to the boundary, what is the distance? We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 as the distance. So on the other side, we will do like a mirror and we will move 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the new point, A prime, not A prime, sorry, A double prime is going to be over here. And this is point what? This is point 1 minus 5. Same thing for B and C. So for B, it moves 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you're also going to move 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this over here is going to be the new position, which is B double prime. its position based on the graph, it is 4, minus 5. Now finally, for the C double prime, let me just choose a different color. It's gonna be 1, 2. Okay, the distance is 2 units from the boundary, so like a mirror, you will move 1, 2, and this over here is the new unit of what? This is the new unit of C double prime. So this is position what? Position 4, minus 3. So very simply, this is what your points are supposed to look like. So over here, the first point you have, it's gonna be 1, minus 5. The second point you're gonna have, it's gonna be 4, minus 5. And then finally, the third point you're gonna have, it's gonna be 4, minus 3. So very simply, this is it. This is how it is supposed to look like. Okay. We move on to question number 3. In question number 3, it said, select on the grid below the vertices of the image triangle ABC under a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise. So the first thing you're gonna do is we're gonna do a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise. What does it mean, rotation 90 degrees clockwise? It means you're moving from A to B. It will become what? It will become B minus A. Okay, this is the first thing we are gonna do. And then the second thing we're gonna do, it is a translation given by the vector minus 3, 1. So please keep these in mind. Now the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna choose all of the points of A, B, and C. A, its point is what? Its point is minus 2, minus 2. B, its point is minus 2, 1. And then finally, C, its point is what? Its point is minus 4, minus 2. Okay, so A is minus 2, minus 2, B is minus 2, 1, and C is minus 4, minus 2. Now we are dealing with what? We are dealing with a translation or transformation of what? Of 90 degrees clockwise. So you're going to be moving 90 degrees in the clockwise direction. So like this. Okay, also, this is going to be 90 degrees clockwise, 90 degrees clockwise. Remember, when dealing with 90 degrees clockwise, what does it mean? It means that AB is going to turn into what? Into B minus A. Very important. Pay attention. So now we're looking for what? We're looking for A prime, B prime, and C prime. Very simply, A prime, it's going to be what? Following the rule that AB will become B minus A, it will become minus 2, 2. For B prime, following the rule that AB will become B minus A, it will become 1, 2. Now finally, the last thing we have is what? The last thing we have is C prime. Following the rule that AB becomes B minus A, C prime is going to become what? It is going to become minus 2, 4. So keep these in mind. I'm not going to plot them because I will move on to the second step, which is transformation. Now, the second step, which is transformation, we will be using A prime, B prime, and C prime. Okay? So A prime, as we found before, it is minus 2, 2. B prime, as we found before, it is 1, 2. And then finally, C prime, as we found before, it is minus 2, 4. It will undergo what? It will undergo a translation of the vector what? The vector is minus 3, 1. Minus 3, 1. Minus 3, 1. Because we are moving from a point to a point using a vector, that means this is the initial, and we are finding what? We're finding the final, which is A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. That means we're going to be adding A prime, B prime, and C prime to the vector. So very simply, it's going to be what? It's going to be minus 2 plus minus 3, which is going to be minus 5. Okay? And then 2 plus 1, which is going to give us 3. For B prime, it's going to be 1 minus 3, which is going to give us minus 2. And then 2 plus 1, which is going to give us 3. And then finally, C double prime, it's going to be minus 2 minus 3, which is minus 5. And then 4 plus 1, which will give us 5. So the points, respectively, they are A double prime minus 5, 3, B double prime minus 2, 3, and C double prime minus 5, 5. So, very simply, again, we have the points. It's going to be, first of all, A double prime minus 5, 3. So we'll go to minus 5 and we'll go up to 3. So it's going to be over here. The second point is minus 2, 3, so it will be up here also. And then finally, the last point, which is point 3, it's going to be minus 5, so over here, and then 5, so it's going to be over here. This is very simply what it is supposed to look like. We move on to question number 4. Question number 4 is a little bit tricky. It's very important, but it's going to be a little bit tricky. They said, select on the grid below the vertices of the image of triangle ABC under a rotation of 90 degrees counterclockwise. This is the first thing, about point 0 minus 2. Pay attention. They did not say origin. They said point 0 minus 2. So this is the first thing we're going to be doing. Then the second thing we will be doing, it is what? It is a translation given by the vector minus 3 minus 2. So now, just a quick recap to see if you will remember. When we're dealing with 90 degrees counterclockwise, clockwise will move like this, okay? But it is about a point, okay? Let us say this point is x, y, okay? We want to do the rotation of AB 90 degrees counterclockwise about a point xy. How is this gonna work? In order for this to work, we will need what? We will need to be able to find a new A and a new B. In order to be able to find the new A, because we are dealing with counterclockwise, keep in mind this is counterclockwise, this is how the equation is gonna be. It's gonna be the point of rotation, so first of all, the x of the point of rotation, so x, minus what? The b of the point that we are rotating, minus what? Minus the y of the x of rotation. So I know it's gonna be a little bit confusing, a little bit complicated, but take it like this. 90 degrees counterclockwise about a point xy. So we are rotating about a point xy. Which point are we rotating? We are rotating the point AB. So to find the new position, it's gonna be new A and new B. So it's gonna be the x of the rotation point minus the b of the point being rotated minus the y of the rotation point, okay? This is, if you put them all together, you will be able to find what? You'll be able to find the new A. However, for the new B, because we are dealing with what? We are dealing with counterclockwise, it's gonna be the y of the point we are rotating about, which is xy, plus, keep in mind this is very important, plus the A of the point that's being rotated minus what? Minus the x of the point we are rotating about. Keep these equations, write them down, memorize them, they are very, very important. Okay, keep this in mind. Now we will start solving for this one. Let us take the points together. We have the point A, the point B, and the point C. At point A, our point is what? Our point is 2 minus 4. Let me write it better. 2 minus 4. Okay? We will need to find what, first of all? We'll need to find the rotation 90 degrees clockwise about the point 0 minus 2. In order to do that, look what we are going to do. The first thing we will need to do is we will need to find the new A and the new B. In order to find the new A, it's going to be what? It's going to be, first of all, you're going to take the xy. Xy over here, it is going to be what? The point that we are rotating about, which is 0 minus 2. Okay, and then remember, this over here is going to be our AB. Okay, very important. So now, to find the new A, it is going to be, first thing, it's going to be x minus, let me just write the equations on top. Hold on. New A equals x minus b, b minus y, and then new b equals y plus a minus x. So keep these new equations in mind, how to find the new A and how to find the new B. We want to find the new A, so we're going to take the x, in this case, which is 0, and we're going to subtract it from what? From our b, which is minus 4, minus the y, which is minus 2. You will put it on your calculator, you will solve it, you will get that the new A is equal to 2. Okay, moving on to the second one, which is the new b. In order to find the new b, we are going to take the y. What is our y? Our y is minus 2, so it's going to be minus 2 plus, open brackets, our a, which in this case is 2, minus x, which in this case is 0. You will solve it, and you will get an answer of 0. So now you have the new point, which is a prime. It is going to be what? It is going to be 2, 0. Just like that, you finished the first one. We move on to the second one, which is b. In b, they said, if you look at b over here, its points are what? What are the points of b? The points of b are 4 minus 4, okay? I think it will be easier for you on the graph to see. So it's 4 minus 4. Now we will need to find what? We will need to find the new A and the new B. The new A, in order to find it, we are going to first of all take the x. What is our x? Our x is 0, okay? 0 minus what? Minus, okay? The b, our b is what? Our b is minus 4, okay? Minus our x, so minus 2. You will solve it, you will get that the answer over here, it is what? It is 2. In order to find the new b, okay, you're gonna do the same equation again. So y, our y is what? Our y is minus 2 plus a, our a is what? Our a is 4 minus x. What is minus x in this case? Minus x is gonna be minus 0. You solve it and you will get an answer of what? You will also get an answer of 2. So very simply, our point b prime, it is gonna be equal to what? It's gonna be equal to 2. Just like that, you finish the second one. We'll move on now to part C. We'll need to find what? We'll need to find the new a and the new b. First of all, what are the coordinates of C? The coordinates of C are 2, minus 1, okay? So now we will use these what in order to find our new a and our new b. So new a is what? New a, it is gonna be our x, which is 0, minus b, which in this case is minus 1, okay? Minus our y, what is our y? It is gonna be minus 2. So you will put it on the calculator, you will solve it, you will get an answer of minus 1. In order to find our new b, it's gonna be what? It's gonna be y, our y is minus 2, plus what? Plus our x, which is, our a, which is 2, minus our x, which is 0. So minus 2 plus 2, you will solve it, it's gonna be equal to 0. So now you have the new point, which is c prime. It is equal to what? C prime, it is equal to minus 1, 0. So just like that, we found the values of a prime, b prime, and c prime. These are very important factors, these equations. Please do not forget them. They are very, very important. So just like that, we found a prime, b prime, and c prime. Now, the next thing we have is what? The next thing we have is the vectors. So again, our a prime, let me put it up. Our a prime, it was what? Our a prime was 2, 0. Our b prime, it was 2, 2. And our c prime, it was minus 1, 0. So it will undergo what? It will undergo a transformation of the vector minus 3, minus 2, if I'm not mistaken, minus 3, minus 2, minus 3, minus 2, minus 3, minus 2, okay? So now, because we are looking for the final, which is a double prime, b double prime, and c double prime, we're just gonna add them. So after adding them, for a double prime, it's gonna be 2 minus 3, which is minus 1, and then 0 minus 2, which is minus 2. For the b double prime, it's 2 minus 3, which is minus 1, and then 2 minus 2, which is 0. And then finally, for c double prime, it's gonna be what? It's gonna be minus 1 minus 3, which is minus 4, and then 0 minus 2, which is minus 2. So the final points are a double prime, b double prime, c double prime. So it's minus 1 minus 2, minus 1 0, and minus 4 minus 2. So very simply, it's gonna be what? Minus 1 minus 2. So minus 1 minus 2, this is the first point. Then minus 1 0, this over here is the second point. And then we have minus 4 minus 2, this over here is the third point. Very simply, this is it for question number 4. Now, I believe the rest of the questions, I hope they will get easier after question number 6, okay? But for now, you should know that questions 5 and 6, they may seem simple, but part B is a little bit tricky, okay? Let us move on to question number 5. They said refer to the figure below. They want the single transformation that maps M onto triangle P. What I would do in this case is I would take a point on M and I would take that same exact point on P. Now look what I'm gonna do. I will count how much it goes down. How much does it go down? It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going down how much? It's going down minus 7. And how much is it moving to the left? It is moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So minus 6. Since we are putting it in the vector form, we are going to put the x upward, or if it moves to the left or the right, upward. So it's going to be moving to the left. That's why we will put it upward, minus 6. And then since it's moving down 7, which is the y, so we're going to put it downward, minus 7. This is one way to do it, which is probably the easiest way. Another way to do it is what? Is to take the point final minus the point initial. You choose this point over here. As you can see that this point over here, it is what? Our point initial. And this point over here, it is what? It is our point final. So if you take the point final, which its coordinates are minus 6, minus 4, and you subtract it from the point initial, which is 0, 3, okay? Then if you put it as a vector format, you are going to get minus 6, minus 7. Either way, it's going to be the same answer, which is what? Which is minus 6, minus 7. We move on to part B. they want the single transformation that maps triangle M onto triangle R is a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise about the point what? Okay, this is very, very important. Look what I'm gonna do. They said triangle M onto triangle R, and it is what? It is 90 degrees clockwise about a point. Whenever we're saying 90 degrees clockwise about a point, remember that we will need to, this point, for example, it is XY, okay, and we're gonna choose a point AB. Remember that we have to find the new point A, new A, it is gonna be equal to what? It's gonna be equal to X plus B minus Y, because we're dealing with clockwise, so it's gonna be the opposite of counterclockwise. So instead of minus, this is gonna be plus, okay? And for the new B, it's also gonna be the opposite. It's gonna be Y minus, so instead of Y plus, it becomes Y minus A minus X. So just keep these in mind, these are very important. Okay, so let us go up and let us choose the point from M and from R, okay? So from point M over here, this point is what? This is point old AB. Let's say this is the old AB. What is this point? This point, it is 0, 3. However, for the new AB, this point is what? This point, which is this point over here, it is gonna be 5 minus 2. And they told us that it is what? It is 90 degrees clockwise, so it moves in the direction of a clock, about a point XY. They want us to find the value of the point XY. They want us to find X and Y. So very simply, what we're gonna do is we're gonna play it smart. We're gonna put the equation of new A. So new A is equal to what? It is equal to X plus B minus Y, because it is clockwise. And then new B, its equation is Y minus A minus X, because it is what? It is counterclockwise. And now we're only gonna substitute. So look, our new A is what? Our new A, it is 5. 5, it is equal to what? It is equal to X, that we need to find, plus B. What is our old B? Our old B is 3 minus Y. We also need to find Y. New B, our new B is what? It is minus 2. Minus 2 is equal to Y, that we need to find, minus A, our old A is 0, minus X, that we need to find. So if you simplify it even further, you're gonna get what? You're gonna get that 5 is equal to X plus 3 minus Y. And then, very important, minus 2 is equal to what? It's equal to Y plus X. This is after simplifying it, okay? So now you have to make X as the subject in this one. Let us make it as the subject. So that means X, okay, it is gonna be equal to minus 2 minus Y. And very simply, what we need to do is we will need to substitute this X over here. So if you substitute that X over here, look what's gonna happen. It's gonna become 5 is equal to what? Is equal to minus 2 minus Y plus 3 minus Y. So that means 5 is equal to what? Minus 2 plus 3, which is 1, okay? Minus 2y. Bring 1 to the other side, you will get that 4 is equal to minus 2y. And then after solving, you will get that y is equal to what? Y is equal to minus 2. Just like that, you found what? You found the y of the x, y. So y is minus 2. Very simply, to find the value of x, you will substitute y in this equation. So x is equal to minus 2 minus 2. So after solving, you will get that x is equal to 0. So the point xy, it is what? It is 0 minus 2. Just like that, we found the point what? We found the point xy, which is 0 minus 2. We now move on to question number 6. And question number 6, it says, refer to the figure below. They said they want the single transformation that maps triangle A onto C. Again, just like we did before, look what we're going to do. We are going to take the point on A and the similar point on C. Now, usually for a more accurate measure, what I would like to do is point final minus point initial. So point initial over here, you will take its coordinates. They are minus 5, 6. Point final, you will take it over here. It is 8, 5. So now you're going to do point final, which is 8, 5, minus point initial, which is what? Which is minus 5, 6. After solving, it's going to become what? It's going to be 8 minus 5, which is 13, and then 5 minus 6, which is minus 1. So this is the vector. It is 13 minus 1. We move on to part B. Again, we're going to do the same thing as we did in part B of number 5. The single transformation that maps triangle A onto D is a rotation 90 degrees counterclockwise. When we're dealing with 90 degrees counterclockwise, that means what? about the point xy, we're gonna choose point AB. We know that what? Nu A is gonna be equal to what? Nu A is gonna be equal to x minus b minus y, because we are dealing with what? We're dealing with counterclockwise. And then nu b, it is equal to what? It is equal to y plus a minus x, because we are dealing with counterclockwise. So let us go up and choose the 2 points. They said they want from A onto D. So let me just move in like this. Here we go. On point A, if you choose this point over here, it's gonna be what? It is gonna be minus 5 minus 6. And on point D, if you choose this point over here, it is gonna be what? It is gonna be minus 5 minus 2. Okay, so now, again, because we're dealing with 90 degrees counterclockwise at a point or about a point, so about a point xy, we will need to find what? We will need to find the nu A. We know that the equation of nu A, it is what? Equation of nu A, because it is counterclockwise, it is x minus b minus y. And nu B, because it is counterclockwise, it is gonna be what? It is gonna be y plus a minus x. Okay, so let us find our old point. Our old point, which is on A, it is what? It is, our old AB, okay, which we found on triangle A, it is what? It is minus 5, not minus 6, minus 5, 6, okay? My mistake, minus 5, 6, not minus 5, minus 6, okay? So minus 5, 6. And our new AB, based on the point over here, it's gonna be what? Our new AB, it is gonna be minus 5 minus 2 based on the point D, okay? So now we're gonna substitute the equation. So nu A is equal to x minus b minus y. Our nu A is what? Our nu A, it is minus 5. So minus 5 is equal to what? It is equal to x, which we need to find, minus our b from the old b, which is 6, minus y, which we also need to find. And then our new b, it is what? It is minus 2 is equal to what? It is equal to y plus a from our old a, which is minus 5, okay, minus x. After simplifying, you will get minus 5 is equal to x minus 6 plus y, okay? And here minus 2 is equal to y minus 5 minus x. And then here you need to solve both of the x's. So x is equal to this and x is equal to this. After solving this one over here, you're gonna get that x is gonna be equal to what? It's gonna be equal to minus 5 plus 6 minus y. So it's gonna be 1 minus y. Okay, so 1 minus y. And over here it's gonna be what? It's gonna be x is gonna be equal to y minus 5 plus 2. So x is equal to y minus 3. Now very simply just substitute them. You get that x is equal to this 1 minus y, and x is equal to y minus 3. So 1 minus y is equal to y minus 3. Bring this to the side, bring this to the side. You will get that 3 plus 1 is 4 is equal to 2y. Okay, and just like that you get what? You get that the value of y is equal to 2. Just like that we found what? We found the value of our y, which is 2. Okay, so now very simply to find the value of our x, we will need to substitute it in one of the equations. So take this one for example. So x is gonna be equal to 2 minus 3, which is minus 1. And just like that, we found the value of our x to be minus 1. So our point, it's gonna be minus 1, 2. I think we finished the harder questions. We now move on to the easier questions. So they said, given these points, okay, they wanted under a reflection of what? Y is equal to minus x. Whenever they tell you y is equal to minus x, this means what? This means that AB is gonna become what? It's gonna become minus b minus a. So remember, y equals minus x, AB will become minus b minus a. Using this, you will be able to find the points. So 3, 0 becomes 0 minus 3. 0, 4 becomes minus 4, 0. And then finally, minus 3, 2 will become what? It will become minus 2 and 3. We move on to question number 8. Here they need the pre-image of this under a rotation about the origin through 90 degrees clockwise. So pre-image means what? They want the original image. So this over here is what? This is our final image after a rotation through the origin. So 0, 0, 90 degrees counterclockwise. Whenever they say 90 degrees counterclockwise, that means AB became what? It became minus BA. So they gave us what? They gave us minus b, a, which is 6 minus 4. We need to return it back to what? We need to return it back to a, b. So if we return it back to a, b, it's going to be minus 4 minus 6. Very simply, so it's going to be over here, minus 4 minus 6. We move on to question number 9. It says the pre-image of this under a rotation of whatever. Okay, pre-image means what? The original image. Since they want the original image, they gave us what over here? They gave us the final image. A rotation about the origin, so 0, 0, 270 degrees counterclockwise. This is very, very important. Counterclockwise, when we're dealing with 270 degrees counterclockwise, it's different from 90 degrees clockwise. So 270 degrees counterclockwise, it is what? It is that AB will become what? It will become B minus A. Keep in mind, AB becomes B minus A. So we are given what? We are given B minus A, which in this case is 3, 5. We need to return it to AB. Returning it to AB, it will become what? It will become minus 5, 3. So very simply, this equation over here, it is minus 5, 3. We move on to question number 10. Question number 10 says the pre-image of this, okay? So they want the original. That means we are given what? We are given the final under a rotation about the origin through 180 degrees. Whenever they give you 180 degrees, clockwise, counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. 180 degrees is the same. So AB will become what? No matter what, it will become minus A minus B. So they gave us what? They gave us minus A minus B, which is what? Minus 3 minus 2. They want us to return it to AB. If you return it to AB, it's going to be what? It's going to be 3, 2. So very simply over here, it's going to become 3 and 2. We move on to question number 11. In question number 11, they said, in a plane, the image of M minus 1, 4. So this over here is original. Under a translation is this. So this is the final point. They want us to find the vector of the translation. So very simply, it's going to be point final minus point initial. Point final, which is 2, 0, minus point initial, which is what? Which is minus 1, 4. You're going to subtract them to get the vector, which in this case is 3 minus 4. So the vector is 3 minus 4. When they want the inverse translation, that means you're only going to swap the signs. If you swap the signs, that means it's going to be minus 3, 4. So very simply, it goes from 3 minus 4 to minus 3, 4. They said the image of P00 under this translation. So they give you original, you have the vector. So point 0, 0 plus the vector which we found above to be 3 minus 4. You will put it and you will get 3 minus 4. So over here it's going to be 3 minus 4. Now the pre-image of this over here. So this over here is what? This is the final. They want us to find what? The original. We know that if we have the initial or original, we will add it to the vector to get the final. However, if we have the final, we will subtract from it the vector. So final minus vector will give us what? Will give us the initial. Okay? So the final point in this case, which is 2 minus 3, we will subtract it from the vector, which is 3 minus 4. Okay? I don't think you put the vector like that. You put the vector like this, 3 minus 4. You will get an answer of what? You will get an answer of minus 1 and 1. So very simply, the answer for part C is minus 1, 1. We move on to question number 12. In question number 12, they said, the coordinates of the image of P minus 2, 5 under a reflection in the y-axis. When the reflection is about the y-axis, only the x will change its sign. It will take the opposite sign. So minus 2 will become 2. So the answer is going to become what? It's going to become 2 minus 5. Okay, so 2 minus 5. When it's reflection about the y-axis, only the x changes its sign. However, when it's a reflection about the x-axis, only the y changes its sign. If it's a reflection about the origin, then both of the numbers change their sign. So the coordinates of the image of this under a reflection in the x-axis, as we said, reflection in the x-axis, only the y is going to change its sign. So it will become minus 1, minus 3. Now finally, we move on to question number 14. Here they said what? They said the coordinates of this image under a rotation 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. Here they did not say that pre-image point, about a point, whatever. It's very straightforward. You have the original or initial under a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise, remember 90 degrees, sorry, counterclockwise, which is like this, about the origin, so point 0, 0. So what does this mean? This means it will go from AB, it will become what? It will become minus BA if you're dealing with the counterclockwise. So AB in this case, it is minus 4, 2, it will become minus BA. So minus B, so it becomes minus 2, and then A, which is minus 4. So it is minus 2, minus 4. We move on to question number 15. In question number 15, it says, fill in the blanks. The image of this under a translation of T is this. They want us to find the X component and Y component. When they say X component and Y component, very simply what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take the final point, subtract it from the initial point, and you will get your answer. So the final point, which is 50, 80, subtract it from the initial point, which is 26, 14, and you will get your vector. Okay, what is our vector? Our vector in this case, it is gonna be it's gonna be 50 minus 26, which is 24, and then 80 minus 14, which is 66. So the X component is 24 and the Y component is 66. We move on to question number 16. Here in question number 16, they said what? A reflection in the x-axis. As we said, when they say a reflection in the x-axis, the only thing that's going to change is the y. So the y is only going to change its sign. So 3, 0 will stay 3, 0. 0 minus 4, sorry, 0, 4 will become 0 minus 4. Minus 3, 2 will become what? Will become minus 3 minus 2. Very simply, that's it for question number 16. We move on to question number 17. They said under a reflection in the line y is equal to x. When they say reflection y is equal to x, look what happens. AB will become what? Will become BA. So in this case, AB is what? It is 5, 2. It will become what? It will become 2, 5. So very simply, the answer over here, it is 2, 5. We move on to question number 18. The coordinates of the image T5 minus 4 under the reflection y minus x. When they say y minus x, what happens? AB will become minus B minus A. Very important. AB will become minus B minus A. Okay, so take AB. AB in this case is gonna be 5 minus 4. It will give us an answer of 4 minus 5. So the answer over here, it is 4 minus 5. Now last but not least, the final question. They said the rotation 180 degrees about the origin. That means what happens? A, B will become what? It will become minus A minus B. So minus 6, 1. It will become what? It will become 6 minus 1. Very simply, so it is 6 minus 1. Let us submit and hopefully we don't have any mistakes. Thank God we don't have any mistakes. I think now for the rest of the video, I'm gonna be putting some of the equations. Okay, so very, very important equations you will need to know. I will just put it in this white screen over here. Okay, the first thing we have is the translation. You have a translation T. The translation T is what? It is A, B. Okay, to find the inverse of this translation, which is T inverse, T minus 1, you just change the signs. It becomes minus A minus B. Very important, very simple. They give you the image. In order to find the image, you're gonna take the point and you're gonna add it to the translation. Now you have pre-image. In order to find the pre-image, there are many ways to do this. To find the pre-image, which is the original, you're gonna take the point that they gave you, you're gonna subtract it from the translation. Or in another sense, you're gonna take the point. You're gonna take the point that they gave you, and you're gonna add it to the what? To the inverse of the translation. Because as you know, the inverse of the translation is very simply the translation, but with minus. Very simply. Okay, this is it for translations. Now we move on to reflections. Okay, so for reflections, we have reflections about the axis. If they say, for example, y is equal to minus 1, x is equal to minus 1, this is your plane. You will take, for example, x is minus 1. You will come over here and you will count the distance. This is how I do it personally, the easiest way. y minus 1, you will take y minus 1 and you will count the distance. This is for these reflections over here. Now, if they got more complex, for example, if they told you that y is equal to x, then what you need to know is what? AB will become what? It will become BA. If they told you, however, y is equal to minus x, then that means what? That means that AB, it's gonna become what? It's gonna become minus B minus A. If they say reflection about x-axis, we know what? We know that only the y changes. If they say reflection about y-axis, we know what? We know only the x changes. And that is it for reflections. We now move on to rotations. Rotations are very important, okay? So, the three main elements you have to focus on when dealing with rotations, they are the center of the rotation, they are the angle of rotation, how many degrees it is being rotated, angle of rotation, and then finally it is the direction of rotation. These are the three most important things to focus on when dealing with the rotations. So, they tell you, for example, 90 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise. This is we're dealing about the origin, So if it's 90 degrees clockwise, then what happens? We know that AB will become what? So, AB, if it's 90 degrees clockwise, it will become B minus A. Or if it is 90 degrees counterclockwise, if we're dealing about the origin, of course, then AB is going to become minus BA. If we're dealing with 270 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise, we know that AB in 270 degrees, if it's moving clockwise, then it will become what? It will become minus BA. Or if it's moving counterclockwise, it will become what? It will become BA. Now, very simply, for the 180 degrees about the origin, what is already about the origin? There's nothing about a point in 180 degrees. Okay, then you are going to take what? You're going to take AB. It will become what? It will become, very simply, minus A minus B. This is about the origin. However, if we are dealing what? About a point. This, usually, we will say 90 degrees rotation about a point. It could be either clockwise or counterclockwise. So if it's 90 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise about a point, very simply we need to find what? We need to find the new A and the new B. Let us say this is what? It is AB. One second. We're dealing with the point AB. It is rotating about a point XY. Very important. Keep these in mind. A point AB is rotating about a point XY. We'll need to find the new A and the new B. In order to find the new A, we will need to follow this equation. It is gonna be, first of all, it depends if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. So let us start with counterclockwise, which moves in this direction. If it is counterclockwise, then what? It is gonna be X minus, very important, minus B minus Y. X is gonna be from the point XY, B is gonna be from the point AB, and Y is gonna be from the point XY. For the new B, pay attention, it's gonna be Y plus, okay, A minus X. Y is from XY, A is from AB, and X is from XY. If we are dealing with clockwise and we are looking for the new, let me choose a different color. If we are dealing with clockwise and we are doing new A and new B, this is very important. We will have that X plus, very important, plus B minus Y. And then finally, new B, it is what? It is Y, not plus, Y minus A minus X. Very simply, this is a summary of section 3.1. I finished the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching.